Hello YouTube. I'm continuing with the new deck profile and it's Virtual World. This one's going to be my most remarkable one also. So moving forward, maxing out on Virtual World Mahihime Lumulu. Choose a card that lets you plus easily. It's special summon, but depending on which you send from the Virtual World card you send from deck to grave. And you have to add another one that is different from the one you sent. And another one we're maxing out is Virtual GG. Pretty much has the same effect when special summoning and then including send. During the end phase, you add a virtual from your grave to hand after you special summon it. Lao Lao to special summon your virtual monsters from your grave when using its effect to special summon itself. Same for 3 Lily, but you're dumping 2 virtual cards from your deck to grave. Ianan doesn't have the same effect, but it's one of those cards if you normal special summon to level 3, you can get out these. And a new one, our final virtual world, is Otohime. Doesn't have the same effect, but it's one, that's why I prefer one, because not the best extender, but it's another way to simply see more virtual world cards. And starting off, I'm going to be showing off, we need 3 Ash. This card is definitely one of those cards that has to be in the main deck because it hits a lot of the competitive decks out there, takes away their consistency, and especially if it negates, it's one of those cards that will disappoint your opponent even that much harder. And another card we're maxing out on is Nibiru, because breaks boards. A lot of people mention that, like, it ensures, especially if decks that spam too much, it makes sure you have a comfortable lead later on in the game. And then let's continue with our spells. We're going to start off with 3 Virtual World Gate Qinglong. It's definitely one of the cards you have to max out of 3 because, like I said, it has consistency. It lets you add a virtual monster, and the first effect might not be useful, although it negates, but like it's mainly the searching that's more important. Same for Kaloon, which we're playing 3 of, which is amazing because you can, especially if you can activate a virtual world card from your deck, it includes traps as well, so that's one way of being able to activate your traps first turn. For the non-virtual cards, we're playing Emergency Teleport, obviously special summon your psychic monsters. Called by the Grave, stop hand traps. Desires, because since we're playing a lot of 3 ofs, you don't really care disposing 1 or 2 of your cards because, like, you can still be able to draw 2 cards as long as you can avoid those hand traps. And then maxing out with the 3 Foolish Barrel of Goods, dumping your Kaloon, your trap, any of your virtual cards, like, or any spell trap in general, but like this is what makes cards like not Kaloon, Qinglong, like, enable you to search the virtual card that you need and get you the best hand as best as possible, and ensure that you have all the virtual cards you need for them to enable your combo. And for the traps, we choose for obvious reason. Some people prefer to play 2, but I prefer to play 3 because I want to see as much spell, especially with Desires, because I might not be able to see it ever. So it's one of those cards that can hit Mystic Mine, especially targeting a face card and reshuffling your cards, like, is so valuable because that means you can keep using your virtual world cards as much as possible, and that you have the upper hand besides your opponent. In Zwanru, the least effective trap in the deck, but it's a card that is most valuable when in the grave because you can retrieve one of your virtual monsters from the grave. Although you must send 1 card, it still enables you to go into your extra deck and then just get those cards out there. And then speaking of extra deck, we're playing Petalemi M7 for obvious reasons. You want to retrieve your virtual monsters and then continue the combo. Sacred Tree, although it may not be the best one, like, it negates cards during, like, your opponent's turn, but it's like then it's based on what the materials used to attach with it. But if you activate a certain card, it gets to add a card from the grave and attach it to it as a material based on the card that has the same type as the one you activated. So Break Sword, some people might reconsider. I don't, because popping cards ensures that like you always have a way of taking advantage of your opponent. That's what counts. Phantom Fortress, Emblethenir, level 9. It banishes with non-target, and it has, and there's so many ways you can get rid of your cards. It could be their hand, field, or grave. Fan for the same reasons, because like although it targets cards that are in the grave and field as well. But then although you're forced to detach 2, it's because it has synergy with the deck. And then when he leaves the field, you special summon 2 virtual monsters from your deck to the field. So it ensures that you could pretty much activate its effect on one of its effects during your turn, and then you can use the other effect during your opponent's turn. Utopia Bond to create those potential DKs, and there are cards that synergize with it that are in my extra deck. The final Xyz monster is Zeus, because especially when you attack with the other Xyz, this comes up and they'll be able to clear your opponent's board with ease. For the synchros, we're playing Kyuubi, Shenshin. I prefer to call him Kyuubi because it looks like the 9-FX, but Shenshin is for obviously half the main deck, the extra play in the extra deck, because it banishes, it special summons itself, and then it hurts your opponent more than it hurts you. Juju, for the same reason, it has like a floodgate effect where it can't be destroyed by battle or card effects if you have 2 or more similar types in the graveyard, and allows you to pop for free by banishing 2 cards that with the same type. Stardust Charge War for +1. Cloud Castle to go into your rank 9s a lot more faster. Archosaurus, Ravenous Crocodragon, sorry, forget my pronunciation, but Ravenous Crocodragon is because you want to draw more cards. Coral Dragon for the same reason, but you get to pitch and discard 1 during your turn. Vermilion Drago Mech to pop a card and then retrieve a tuner from your grave. And the final synchro monster is Mathmech Geomech Final Sigma. For if you have obviously some extra deck, it's pretty much unaffected, can deal your opponent far more damage, and then he's like the main synchro monster in this deck. And hope you guys like the deck profile, and hopefully I'll be able to post more after. And thank you, and appreciate the comments and compliments, and if there's anything I need to prove on, thank you.